The DPVR E4 is one of the most unique VR headsets that I've seen. Its flip-up design makes it very exciting to use if you're frequently in and out of VR. There's much more the DPVR E4 has to offer, so let's get right into the review. Alright, before we do, I want to quickly say thank you to DPVR for sending me this headset. They reached out to me. This headset was given to me for free, so I just want to let everyone know there right off the bat. But you'll see that these opinions are my own. I'm not obligated to say anything, good or bad, whatever, about the DPVR. This is just for review, basically. So, with that being said, thanks to DPVR. Without them, this video wouldn't exist. So thank you for sending over the headset. And actually, they sent dos. That's two in Spanish for those who don't know, the three people who don't know. So yeah, they sent me two headsets. They also sent this nice little card, which says really nice things. Actually, it says, "Dear Kory, we're writing because we really appreciate your channel, and we think that everyone watching this video should subscribe right now." So anyway, it's really nice what they wrote in there. It's their words, not mine. So we're going to leave that there. That was really nice of them. All right, if you want a chance at winning a DPVR E4, DPVR actually was nice enough to lend us one of their headsets for a giveaway. And by lending, I mean we're giving one away. So if you would like a DPVR E4 headset, there's two things you need to do. The first thing is commenting down below and let me know why you want a DPVR E4 and what you would do with it. The second thing you need to do is you need to enter the giveaway raffle. There's going to be a link in the description of this video down below. Click the link, it'll lead you to gleam.io, and from there you'll enter the raffle. That's all, and yeah, good luck to everybody, and I'm excited. I think this is fun. This is a big giveaway for me on this channel, so yeah, thanks to DPVR for giving me that opportunity to give an E4 to you guys. So yeah, thank them, not me. So as usual, we're just going to get right into the review. This is the headset, by the way. This is the flip-up design. It's really cool. We're going to take it off my head for now, though. I don't want it on my head the whole time. We'll put it right in front of us. How about that? I don't know if you'll see it, but it's here. And right off the bat, we're going to get right into the displays. As per usual, we are going to leave timestamps in the video. You could skip around. We're going to have the different categories that you could go to. Feel free to skip around in the video anyway. So let's start with the lenses. The displays themselves, sorry, not the lenses. The displays themselves that you see through the lenses are basically the Quest 2 displays. It's basically, I think they even wrote it's the same display as the Quest 2. So that'll give you a nice little look-see-doodles there. Through the lenses anyway, to see those Fresnel lenses, which we'll talk about soon. But LCD panels, it's a single display, so it's the same as the Quest 2. You do get larger field of view from what I perceived, so that's good coming from the Quest 2, so there's a nice bump there regarding field of view, but it seems like it's the same resolution as the Quest 2 as well. Maybe it's a little bit more clear. The lenses definitely make it more clear. We'll talk about that too. But yeah, resolution, everything else is the same. As far as comparing it to the Index, which I have hanging on my wall, this thing has higher resolution than the Index. So a little bit more clear in here coming from the Index. So it's an upgrade there in that department. There's plenty of brightness going through to the lenses. They're LCD panels, so you're not going to have a problem there. Really bright displays, actually. And it's running options of 72, 90, and 120 hertz, which is the dream that everyone wants. So this display is getting 120 hertz, which is really nice. But yeah, that's pretty standard for VR headsets, PC VR headsets, especially these days. Most users are going to want 120 hertz. 90 is probably the bare minimum now. Things like the big screen beyond stops at 90. So that's the best you're getting there, but those are OLED panels too, so they're a little bit different. So that's displays. Displays are really nothing to complain about. If you enjoy the Quest 2 and you thought that was sufficient, then you'll have no problems here. This is great because it's using the same panels. If we move on to the lenses, as said before, these are using Fresnel lenses. So let's take a look again. Right in there. And this is the little, the little gasket too. We'll get into that later. But yeah, the lenses are Fresnel lenses, so similar to something like the Valve Index. It's technology that exists. It soon will be technology that is ancient due to the emergence of pancake lenses. So anyway, but Fresnel lenses, they're still good enough. They're fine. Once you find that sweet spot, you're good to go. At 59 IPD, so you can adjust the IPD. We'll talk a little bit more about that later in the software section because it's not a physical IPD adjustment, but my IPD is 59, and that's IPD is the interpupillary distance, the measurement between your pupils, and that's going to give you an idea of how your eyes will rest once the headset's on, and where your eyes will be compared to where the lenses are anyway. So at 59 IPD, I can see the edges of the rendered display through these lenses. So that's something to make note of. It's not incredibly noticeable when you're immersed in VR and playing games and stuff. But if you're doing any task work or something where you're more present, if that makes sense, you're not immersed in a game, you're not doing something physically or mentally demanding, you can see the edges of those displays, and they're noticeable, so they may bug some people, but it wasn't an issue to me. God rays, if we talk about that regarding the lenses, very similar to the Valve Index, very similar. If you actually look at the lenses themselves here, let's pick this up. Boom, boom. So let's compare them really quick. I just want to show how similar they are. I don't know if you could see that. They're Fresnel lenses, right? Size-wise, they're pretty similar size-wise too. So anyway, they remind me of the Valve Index as far as the lenses go. God rays exist. I'm used to the Index, so I'm used to God rays. So that didn't really bother me too much, but God rays exist. You'll see that circular God ray effect, and it's there, the glare and whatever you want to call it. It's there, but that's nothing new to Fresnel lenses. If you're used to using Fresnel lenses, which most people are, moving forward now, people are really enjoying the Quest 3 because they have those sweet, sweet pancake lenses. But if you're used to Fresnel lenses, and if you're new to VR, then you're going to do just fine with these because, yeah, they're still good. You just need to find the sweet spot. You don't have as much room to breathe, so you need to find the sweet spot. But once you do, it's not a problem with these Fresnel lenses. But they're going to go. Their time has come, I think, especially with the Quest 3 out now. So they're kind of expired technology or on the verge of expiring. God rays, we talked about. Chromatic aberration on the edges. Let me put this is just in my hand. Hold on. Okay, we're good. I want to make sure it's not going to fall. Chromatic aberration, which is kind of like the separation of colors on the edges of edge of the display. So you'll see kind of like a color fringing is maybe what it's called too. You'll see kind of the colors kind of bleeding out from, let's say, an icon or text or something at the edge of the displays, and you'll see that text that's supposed to be black, you'll start to see like a blue kind of shadow to it or a green shadow. So that's something to note regarding the lenses, at least. And the screen door effect, we'll talk about that in the lenses area. I don't really know where I would talk about that. Maybe in the displays section next time if I do another headset review. I don't know where the screen door effect fits. Probably in the displays, because it kind of has to do with resolution. That being said, this having the same displays as the Quest 2, the screen door effect is there. And it's not as bad as the Index. the screen door effect is much better than the index. These panels are much more pixel dense, right, than the Valve Index, at least to my eye. And the screen door effect's still there, but it is better. It is better. It's not as good as something like the Quest 3. It's somewhere in the middle. So it's not too bad. It's like the Quest 2, pretty much on par there. Field of view. These things are fantastic. Honestly, they feel great inside of them. But if you look at the measurements aren't quite there, at least for me. So I received, like I said, 2 headsets. One of the headsets had a little bit of lens distortion, so I do want to mention that. But it was resolved. I think it was a shipping issue, they said, regarding the lenses maybe shifting a little bit during shipping, because it's coming all the way from China. So the shipping, it's heavy duty, you know, it's coming a long way. So it's going to be moving around a lot. But the second one I got, the lenses are fine. I don't have an issue with them. There's no distortion or anything that I noticed that bothered me. So anyway, field of view, I tested on 2 different headsets and they were pretty much identical. The claims from DPVR is that the E4 has 116 degrees field of view. Now, calculating field of view or measuring field of view is a very, very difficult thing to do or understand, because everyone's face shape is different. Everyone will hit the lens at a different angle, at a different distance from their eye, and their eyes will be seeing something different. That's because we're all human, we're all unique. So I don't know what tools they used to get that 116 degree field of view, because I was measuring with the same software that I'll probably continue to use here on out, because I want to stay consistent with the tools I use. So with the field of view tools that I'm using, I was getting 97 degrees horizontal. That's quite a far distance, you know. That's what, 9 degrees off from 106, or more than, sorry, 19 degrees off from 116. Is my math right? I'm about to pull up a calculator. I don't want to be wrong. My math is not my strong suit, so 19 degrees difference, which is quite significant. So that's something to keep in mind. But that being said, it feels good. I don't know if that makes sense. It doesn't feel like 116 degrees. It doesn't feel wider than the index. The index I'm measuring at 110 degrees or 109 degrees horizontal. It doesn't measure at the index, or it doesn't feel like the index in that sense. It feels a little bit smaller, but not significantly smaller. So field of view is okay, but it's not what with my measurements, it's not what they advertised. It does feel much better than the Quest 2. These are the same, remember, they're the same displays through here, but they are using different lenses, right? So it feels better than the Quest 2 as far as, much better than the Quest 2 as far as field of view goes. You don't get that binocular effect at all that you get in the Quest 2. But yeah, the field of view is not as good as the index. So if we move on to the comfort side of things, the head strap I found incredibly comforting, comfortable. There's cushions kind of all around. I don't know why these are here, to be honest. I don't even know if my face touches these, but these little side cushions are nice. Maybe for your ears, I'm not too sure. I don't know. Would your ears even go there? No, I guess not. So on the side of your head, maybe if you have an extra large area on your head, if your head kind of is shaped like a mushroom and it bows out somewhere. Anyway, yeah, it feels great. I love it. I'm wearing it with a beanie now because aesthetics and this video, you know, we're trying to be hip here. So I don't know why I'm wearing a beanie, to be honest. I just felt like I didn't want to do my hair. My hair was a little messy, so I'm wearing a beanie in the it's really hot, by the way. I'm going to be sweating by the end of this, so let's hurry it up. So yeah, nice cushions. This material, at first I thought it felt kind of cheap, But if you start, because it's kind of like a thin pleather kind of material. Some of them, if you start to do this, try to run your finger across it, it'll feel, and they might actually rip. But this one, I'm doing this and it doesn't feel like it's going to rip anytime soon. So I think these little things will stay on for a lifetime. And if you do need to remove them, they're just Velcro. So you could just pull them off. So that's really nice. It's very comfortable in that regard. And then it has this circular dial here. Obviously, this is for adjusting the tension. Make it small or large, whatever. We looked kind of through that in our unboxing. And the facial gasket here, it's a silicone flimsy gasket. We looked at that in our unboxing as well. And yeah, it's kind of just a flimsy thing. It's not the best, but it was plenty comfortable when I was using it. And it honestly, it's inoffensive. Let's just put it that way. It's inoffensive. It's not like the Quest 3 where the head, it's way more comfortable than the Quest 3, the default strap, right? And even the face gasket itself, that on your face, the silicone, it's very light. It's just barely touching your face, and it feels really good, actually. I prefer this over the Quest 3. If the Quest 3 was in this form factor, I would probably be okay with it. I would be like, cool, this is comfortable. So it's nice. And obviously the flip-up design is fantastic, right? It weighs 280 grams without the head strap here. So the headset unit itself is 280 grams, which is really light. And this is probably adding, maybe doubling the weight. I'm not sure. Probably not, actually. I don't want to say actual measurements because I'm not going to be right. But yeah, it's very lightweight. It feels good. Lighter than the Quest 3 for sure. It doesn't have the processors in it like the Quest 3 or a mobile headset because it's a PC VR headset. It's a dedicated PC VR headset, which is lovely. And it being so lightweight is very nice, honestly. In the eye area, I just want to say my nose does touch the side of these lenses here, right? And because it's a fixed design, so the lenses cannot be moved outwards or inwards. The IPD adjustment is purely software. We'll talk about that a little bit later. You can adjust the headset on your face to make it more comfortable. I could have, but to the nose issue. But yeah, it's still, the lenses, they're a little bit too far protruding outward and like just hitting my face in and around my eye socket area. So yeah, face gasket might have some light leakage. I just want to mention that due to its design, it can't really come in more. So if your face is more narrow and there's a gap there, for me there's a little gap here, you will get some light leakage coming through, and that'll bounce around and create a little bit of glare in the headset on the lenses as well. So that's something to note if your face is shaped like mine. You might have that issue. If we move on to the build quality, it's all plastic, even the hinge is plastic. There might be a metal rod through there, right? Maybe a screw to hold it together. I don't know. Might be plastic too. But yeah, that's obviously to make it so lightweight and comfortable. So that helps there. It feels okay, to be honest. It feels fairly sturdy. My concern is these areas here, they're fairly narrow. They do feel like over time they might wear down, but that's to be determined. So far they've held up quite good. They are quite flexible, but it kind of reminds me of the Quest Elite strap, right? And those were prone to cracking, but these might be a more flexible plastic, so maybe they're not as prone to breaking. Actually, they are quite flexible, so we'll see how it holds up in the long run anyway. I'll probably pop it out every once in a while because it is kind of fun using this flip up design. It is kind of neat. You have real pass-through. It's not camera-based pass-through like the Quest 3. You have real pass-through, real mixed reality. I mean, it's not mixed, but you could go directly from VR to reality with just an easy flip. So that's actually really nice. I do like that. When I was using this, I was just, I honestly, I was flipping it up all the time and just using my phone. Okay, I'm getting distracted. We talked about the hinge, and I'm also worried about the hinge maybe wearing down over time as well. It is that plastic design, and what does plastic do? It wears over time. It's not gonna sustain like metal. I need to fix this. Sorry. Okay, there we go. Comfy. So as well as the cable here, this cable runs and connects here, and you plug in a longer cable. I'll show you that in a moment. But yeah, right here, where it connects to the headset itself, usually on every headset I've had so far, my index, well, just my index, it's removable. It's removable. And the headsets I'm going to get, like the Big Screen Beyond, it's removable. This isn't removable here. So if this cable, this part of the cable ever wears down from maybe, you know, using it, which I don't think it will, because it isn't very, you know, it's not getting pinched and it's well guided. But if this cable ever breaks, it looks like it's attached. So you're going to need to send it in the headset to get it repaired or get another headset. If it cannot be attached, I will be correcting everything in the description of this video and or in the comments, or leave an overlay. But yeah, as far as I can tell, you can't, non-removable. So as we mentioned, this is the little connector here to plug in. I just have all the cables here. So so let's see here. We have, whoop-a-doop-a-doop. So the other side of this, hold on. Okay, this big monster. So this guy plugs into this. So like so, hold on, wait, hold this way. That's the way. Okay, second time's a charm. We got it in. Right here is an issue to me. Okay. Look at how short that is and how big this block is from the headset itself. So now let me demonstrate. If I'm wearing the headset, okay, this thing is right between my shoulders, isn't it? Right? So that block will be annoying. It's weight that doesn't need to be there, that's weighing down that area on the cable. And it's a part of the cable that should be down lower. This needs to be way lower on the cable, closer, like the index. The index cable, that part of the cable is much more further towards this side, which carries the USB and the display port, okay? And then here on this block, next to the display port and USB 3, there's a power connector here. It looks like a DC, one of the like little round power adapters for powering the headset itself. So you have that as well. And I didn't mention on this side, the side close to your shoulders, it has a 3.5, I don't know if you could see that in there. It has a 3.5 millimeter headphone jack right there. So maybe that's why they put that here, because they didn't know how to figure out how to put a 3.5 millimeter headphone jack somewhere here. Because maybe, I don't know, routing wires. I don't know. But there's the 3.5 millimeter headphone jack here. So anyway, this is not something I desire in a VR headset, especially with a cable. You have a cable already, so leave it at that. Don't add more blocks and things to get in the way and create more of an issue. But anyway, I just want to get that out of the way. So you do have this. Where are we? So I think that's it for build quality. We'll leave it at that. There's not much else I want to mention. Obviously the top piece is rubber. It's this rubber top strap, which is actually nice. It's not, again, it's not offensive or anything. It doesn't get in the way. I'm hoping You know what rubber does. Rubber kind of wears down in a weird way sometimes. I'm hoping this doesn't wear down in a weird way, where the rubber kind of starts getting balled up or whatever from your oils and stuff over time. So let's jump right into audio. Boom. Built-in audio. You have speakers right here. Are they tiny? Yes. Are they bad? Yes. They're actually terrible. They're the worst. I haven't used many VR headsets. They're the worst audio I've had for headsets. But this headset, I'll talk about my philosophy and my theory about this headset and why I think this headset's good and who it's good for at the end of this. But I don't think this headset needs good audio because it's not designed to have good audio regarding its use and how it would be used. That's my opinion, but whatever. So if you want audio out of a headset, out of a good audio out of a headset, it's not going to be this one. But if you do want good audio while using this headset, you have the option of a 3.5 millimeter headphone jack right on the back here. So that's really nice to have. If it didn't have that, then yeah, you'd have to run a cable to your PC or Bluetooth headphones or something. So we are going to do a mic recording test. This thing does have a microphone on it as well. There's a couple of slots here on the bottom for the microphone. We'll do a test here, and I'll be quiet for a little bit while you hear the mic. All right, so I have about 10 seconds. What do you guys want me to do to test out the microphone? Do you want me to holler? I don't know what to do. Okay, that's it. Cool. So that's how the microphone sounds. You could be the judge of whether you think it sounds good or not. I'm going to stay neutral. It's okay. It's not great. The controllers, let's pick these up here. So, what do these remind you of? Familiar? Do they look similar to anything? Huh? A little bit. The layout is, well, this is the Quest 3 controller to kind of compare to that. So the layout's similar. It has the, let's turn it that way. It has little grip functions here, same as this is the Quest 3 controller. This is the E4. Nice triggers. And then the halo, which would be coming from like the Quest 2 controllers, right? So again, this is kind of similar in design as the Quest 2 in a lot of ways with the displays and then with the controllers as well. They're very, very comfortable in the hand. The buttons, for me, I have medium-sized glove. It feels perfect. It's perfectly laid out. It's great. The trigger feels nice. Things are dampened nice. That makes a little more noise than I would like, so maybe some, dampers there on the next iteration. But the triggers are okay. Not the best triggers I felt. And then look at this little thumbstick here. This little thumbstick, what does that remind you of? I don't know if it's going to focus there, but that looks like a Nintendo Switch thumbstick, doesn't it? That's because it probably is. It's probably from the same bin as the Nintendo Switch Joy-Cons that they're using there. So it feels great. Honestly, I love the Joy-Con controllers. I think they're fantastic. So I'm very pleased with these. The buttons are nicely raised. So you have good tactile feel there. And then the little menu buttons are kind of indented as per usual with these kinds of controllers. Again, very similar to the Quest 2. If we talk about the haptic feedback with the controllers, worse than the Quest 2, but not bad, not terrible. It needs improvement, I would say, but not terrible. It's good enough. It's definitely not going to meet the standards of something like the Quest 3 or the Quest Pro controllers or even the Index controllers, but it does good enough for what it's trying to get across. You're not going to get anything crazy, but it's nice. Battery life lasts just as long as the Quest 2, I would imagine. I've had the same batteries in there since I received this, which was a little while now, and I've used it a good amount of time, so the battery life should last as long as the Quest 2. I don't see why it wouldn't, to be honest. But yeah, I've had it for about a month now, and I haven't had any problems with the battery dying. I've been using the same batteries in here, and they're going strong. The battery compartment itself, again, same as the Quest 2. So you're just going to have that area there. And then, you know, you have that nice battery compartment there, which is just lovely. Look at that. Same kind of nice design. No spring. I don't like the spring ones in there. I like that little, I don't know, thing. I don't know what I'm talking about anymore. So there we go. That's in Zoe. Zoe came to say hi. Maybe you can't see her on camera, but she's here. Hi, Zoe. So anyway, controllers are fine. Not the best controllers, you know, but they do their job, and it feels good in my hand, at least. If we move on to tracking, camera tracking is going to be similar to the Quest 2 or the Reverb G2, where we have cameras on the front, top, and the bottom of the headset itself. And that's going to do all of your tracking there. So again, similar to the G2, you are going to need proper or adequate light in your environment for the cameras to work to track so that you could use your headset. So you're going to have to turn on your overhead lights maybe. You're going to have to open your blinds maybe. Don't let the sun hit the lenses, it'll damage them. But yeah, you're going to have to get adequate light in there to really make use of the tracking with this. I did have some tracking issues in my environment, similarly lit to this. It's a dim environment. I just have one overhead light here. I have the camera little ring light, and then you could see the blinds behind me. So that's the light I have in here. It's not really much, but the tracking struggled with the DPVR E4 for me. Okay, that's something to note. The Quest 2, when I had that in here, it did okay. Occasionally, I would have some stuttering in a similar dim lit environment. The Quest 3, I could use it in this environment just fine, and there's no issues. So that's just to give you a comparison there. I don't have experience with the G2. I heard the G2 has similar, probably tracking issues. Not really issues, it's more quirks, tracking quirks, where the tracking works fine, but you need proper lighting. So if you're already in a light environment and you have lights on, this will be fine. You're not going to have issues with tracking. The controller tracking was good as well. It felt really no different to me than something like the Quest 2. I didn't really have a problem there. Occasional hiccups, but you know what? It could be probably from, again, poor lighting situations like I have here. I don't have the best lighting in this room, to be honest. If we go to the software, this is where things start to get a little bit interesting for me, at least. With the software, it's similar to like the Quest, where you're going to need to run the DPVR assistant software, is what it's called, in tandem with the headset. So that's going to need to be running all the time to get the headset to function and be recognized on your computer. And then the interesting part to me in the software is the IPD. The IPD adjustment, normally the headset would have it where you can adjust the lens itself and widen the lenses and bring it forward, right? But not this one. This one, the IPD adjustment is in the software. I've never dealt with that before. That's new to me. Did it work? Yes. Was it perfect? I felt a little iffy about it. It didn't feel like maybe it's because I'm used to headsets with a physical IPD slider, so I know what that feels like. And I think that's what was happening here. I was just not used to the software IPD adjustment. So it felt a little odd to me, but it worked. Once I had it dialed in, things looked okay, and I didn't have problems there. The only problem, like I said earlier, was that between here, my nose and around my eyes were touching the lenses because the lenses themselves are in a fixed position. So if the IPD adjustment slider allowed you to widen it there, maybe I wouldn't have had that issue. The refresh rate is also to be adjusted in their software. And if I'm playing a Beat Saber, for instance, if I'm playing Beat Saber on my Valve Index and I go to adjust from 90 to 120 hertz, I could do that instantly in the Steam VR software. With the DPVR E4, you have to use the DPVR assistant software, and you have to restart Steam VR after you adjust the refresh rate on this headset. So that's something to make note of, that you're going to need to restart your software to change the refresh rate on this headset. Sorry, one of the little, you could remove the gasket. One of the little things came out there. I didn't mention that actually. So yeah, this is removable. It's really nice actually. You could clean it down. You could probably just take this off, wash it, this little gasket. It's silicone, and just throw it in the sink. Give it a nice little wash, and then throw it back on. So hygienic, very hygienic. We're talking about software there. So yeah, refresh rate in the software. Brightness is the same as the hertz, where you need to adjust it in the DPVR Assistant software only. You can't adjust the brightness, at least I wasn't able to, in the Steam VR software. So that's something to make note of, because the DPVR Assistant software, it doesn't have an in-VR user interface. So you're going to have to, good thing it has a flip-up design, because you're going to have to flip up the headset and then go on your computer and change the hertz or whatever you want to change brightness in the DPVR Assistant program. But I guess you could say you could bring up those applications and your desktop in VR anyway. So it's a non-issue. This is also where you could change the color of the front of the display. It has a RGB kind of shift thing going on, which is pretty neat for people who are not you, because you're going to be in VR, right? So, so you're not going to see that ever. So let's move on to the issues that I found with the DPVR E4. The first headset I got, I need to make note of this. There was lens distortion. The second, if you have lens distortion, contact them, because that was a shipping issue. So the second unit that I got, which is this one here, it was fine. So I want to make note of that for anyone out there, just to be aware. Okay. Now, the fan in here does make noise, okay? But so does the Quest 3's fan. Now, the Quest 3 fan is quiet. It's not as apparent as the DPVR E4. So, to give you something to compare there, I like comparing things, because if anyone has a Quest 3, then they know what I'm talking about. So, the fan noise is there. It's more apparent than the Quest 3. It's loud enough to be annoying, okay? I'm just going to be dead honest. So what you can do to alleviate that fan noise is turn down the brightness, and that's basically it. You can turn down the brightness. So that will turn down, the displays won't get as hot with the brightness not as bright. At least that's what I've noticed. And the fan noise tended to go down a little bit when the brightness was lower for me. But that could just be coincidence. Maybe it was dependent on what I was doing as well. But I'll let you listen to it, okay? I'm going to be quiet for a moment. I recorded some videos just kind of going back and forth. This is with both headsets that I received, where you hear the fan noise. And I've seen other reviewers where they said there was some fan noise too. So yeah, take a listen. So if that is going to be a deal breaker for you, then maybe this headset's not for you. But with everything else being said, it is great in everything else that it does. And I think this is more for developers, to be honest, with the flip-up design, and people who are going to be doing task work and stuff on their computers, where they're not going to be doing heavy gaming and things like that, moving around their heads, where they're going to notice and hear the fan. I mentioned this earlier, but I'm going to mention it here. The gasket may have light leakage, depending on your face shape, but this is nothing new. So anyway, you could, there's little holes here, little divot slots. If you're crafty, you could probably craft something to cover that up and make it more comfortable for you if you're going to be using this long term. The controller battery slots, they are a tight fit. I just want to make a brief note of this. If you're using rechargeables, I've noticed it's kind of hard to get the batteries out. Don't know why I put that on here, but I just wanted to note that. And then the last thing I want to mention is the block on the cable itself. which will sit between your shoulders. That's going to be an issue, but I don't have them on me. I'll show a clip of it maybe. There's little cable clips that they give you that are so brilliant that clip onto the cable, and then you could attach it to your shirt or something. So with those cable clips, if you set this up properly, this cable, and you guide it properly on your back, then it's not going to be an issue. So if you just really quickly clip something, clip the cable to your shirt or something, then it's fine. But still, the cable block, if it could be moved to another location, that would be ideal. All right, so let's talk about the things that I liked and my opinion on the DPVR. So first of all, it's a dedicated PC VR headset. That's huge to me because that means low latency and no compression. These are things that I complain about with the Quest 3 still. Even as good as it still isn't perfect, and I still notice compression. I still notice latency in certain games like iRacing and things like that. This, if you're playing something like iRacing, Microsoft Flight Simulator, or any of those faster-paced games, the DPVR E4 is going to be amazing for that because it's a PC VR headset. This is great. It has a display port. It's proper. It's good. If you're mainly using PC VR, this is going to be the option for you. I would get this over the Quest 3. I'm not joking. I would rather get this over the Quest 3 for things like iRacing and stuff like that if this was my option, putting it against the Quest 3. Now, if I were playing other games where latency didn't matter as much, I would get something else because the fan noise on this is a little bit, in my opinion, ridiculous. And you're not going to get as good audio here, so you're going to have to use a 3.5 millimeter. Luckily, there's one here, headphone to get better audio. But yeah, there is good comfort here. So it's I wouldn't recommend this to a gamer. I would recommend this to someone who's doing more task work on their computer, who can quickly flip up their headset. I would recommend this to a VR developer who's needing to be in and out of VR constantly, who wants to do all of their work on their main monitor because it's easier and more clear and visible and easier to see and do stuff and type and whatever. And then they could just, boom, flip it down when they need to. So that's who I think this headset's kind of dedicated to. So I absolutely adore that flip up design. It's definitely the highlight of this headset. This nice flip-up design is brilliant. I love it. I think it's great. I think more headsets moving forward should do something similar. I mean, obviously, each headset's going to have its own unique capabilities and functions, but this is good enough for things that are, like I said, if you're just doing task work, you're in and out of VR, and VR isn't your primary focus. You're doing other things around VR. So like game development, I think this is perfect for that. So other things I just want to talk about, which I personally enjoyed about this headset, the face gasket was surprisingly comfortable, and the HMD overall, just comfort-wise, was really much lighter than I thought. It's way lighter than I thought it would be, and that's what makes it so comfortable and easy to use. Again, why I think it's probably one of the better headsets, because it's going to be sitting on your head all day if you're a VR developer and you're in and out so much, right? So if a headset's sitting on your head all day, you want it to be nice and comfortable, and you want it to be not fatiguing, and this is pretty good for that. So in conclusion, if we talk about the end result here, at $499, which is what it's currently listed at, I don't think it's worth it for the average user. But we can't ignore the Quest 3, okay? The Quest 3 is the same price, and that's why this isn't worth it to me. If the Quest 3 didn't exist right now, then this would have more room to recommend. But with the Quest 3 out for the same price, for the average VR user, for someone just getting into VR for the first time who wants to do gaming, things like that, I think the Quest 3 is a no-brainer, right? So we have to stay realistic there. Now, don't let my opinion dissuade you if you want this, because you're going to be doing more task work, like I said, things where you're in and out of VR. Or even if you want something, like I said, that is lightweight, that is comfortable, where you can easily flip up and you're not going to get incredibly hot in it too, because it has so much, it's airy. It's very airy, if that makes sense, because it's so open. It's an open design, right? So it doesn't feel as hot as any other headset. So people who are simming, things like that, this can be good for that as well. But again, remember, you need a bright room for proper tracking, and remember that fan noise. So let's talk about what the DPVR E4 does well, and that's the comfortable, lightweight, flip-up design, which would be great for people who are constantly in and out of VR, like artists, simmers who are flying, driving, racing, or doing any other simulation activity in VR for long periods of time, who often take breaks to hydrate, to check menus, to better navigate the cockpits they're in, or for those who just want a flip-up design. The E4 can have absolutely fantastic functionality depending on who you are and what you desire out of a VR headset. I think the DPVR E4 is an excellent choice for VR developers looking for a headset that's easy to manage, that's lightweight, and if they're constantly in and out of VR. I like the design of the E4 because it's different. It's something different. How many other headsets are out there which have a flip-up design? There's not many. So this is unique in that case. But it's also unique in that I think it's marketed to maybe a more specific user, right? And that's very clear here, to me at least. But that being said, if you are a gamer, you can use this headset. So it's really not a problem there. Just know its quirks, understand what it's capable of, and you'll be happy with it, honestly. If you go in knowing what it does and knowing its quirks and what it's good at, what it's bad at. That being said, that goes with every headset on the market right now. So do your research, figure out what you're getting into, and if the DPVR E4 is appealing to you, it's not bad for what it is, and I think you'll be very pleased if you go in with your expectations right. That being said, thanks for hanging out, everybody. I know this review was quite long now, as my reviews are. Thanks again to DPVR for sending me this headset to review, and if you feel like it, go ahead and like the video. If you don't feel like it, then you could dislike it too if you want. And yeah, if you really enjoyed it, feel free to subscribe. I'll be doing more reviews such as something like this. I'll be doing another headset review with the Big Screen Beyond in the future, in about a month probably when I receive it, and we'll be doing more game reviews here, so stay tuned, and obviously we'll have more Quest stuff coming soon as well. That's all I have to say. What do you guys have to say? Let me know in the comments down below. I'm curious what you think about the DPVR E4, and what would you say they should do with their next headset? What would you want out of it if it had a similar flip-up design? I'm curious what you think there. I think they could do incredible things here, and with this design anyway. And I'm excited to see what they do in the future. So let me know what you think in the comments, and I'll see you all next time. Take care. Bye. I was going to do like jazz hands, but I did an awkward wave instead. Hole in one. It was hole in two.
I peekaboo me. I peekaboo you. I peekaboo me. I peekaboo you. You want to peek me? I'll peek you.
This is so dumb. Why? I don't want to do this anymore.